Welcome to the webinar on Benchmark Universe. I'm Rebecca Lewis, and I'm really excited to be able to share with you virtually today about Benchmark Universe. This is going to be just a short 10-minute webinar on a few ways you can use this tool. There is a much longer webinar available that Rachel McClellan did that you can access if you'd like kind of the soup to nuts version of this webinar. But I'm going to spend time with you today just sharing with you a couple ways you can use Benchmark Universe, A, to support rigor, and B, to support your students in their content area classrooms. So Benchmark Universe is a repository of over 3,000 leveled books ranging from an early kindergarten pre-K level all the way to 9th grade. These are very carefully leveled books that allow you to do really good double duty in literacy, language, and content. And so you'll find that these are great resources for your students, and you should be able to search these books and really find books that are just at the right level for your students, both in nonfiction and fiction, science, social studies, math, language arts, genre titles, a huge range of books. I have already done a search today for matter, and so I've got all the books listed here. We've got 32 books that that deal with the topic of matter, and I've also limited this down to just our ebooks. Our ebooks are the ones that are compatible with iPads, so when you do a search, you will need to limit down and make sure you choose the ebook option so that you only see the books that'll work. So if you remember in Rigor 1, Bag 1, the book that is used as kind of the core book for that lesson is a book called Solids. It's this one right here. So I'd like to show you how you could use Solids for instruction and also how you could help students learn additional concepts related to Solids but also work with this text. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on our Solids book and get right into that book so that we can take a moment to look at it and see how it works. All right, so I've clicked on the text and I've gone from the little category or the big view into the book view. All right, so when the book first presents, you'll see a couple things at the top. Notably, one of the most important things that I think is really helpful for our ELLs is that these are audio books and they can read to the students. They're not digital recordings, it's an actual person reading these books. And so if you take some time and allow the students to explore books, they can have them read to them and they can perhaps even access a much higher level text and be successful with those by listening and really engaging with the listening piece of that text. So just for a minute, I'll just play that.
Let's read a book about solids. Follow along as I read. Matter. Discover solids.
So you'll see that the text is tracked for the student so that they can always be on task. Because one of the things that these books really allow you to do as a teacher is really help the student develop their understanding of print and text and graphic features, which they will really need to know when they're in the regular classrooms. So as you know, with these rigor books, you always have that visual vocabulary introduction, and I'm going to jump ahead to page 6, which I can do either by advancing in the book, or I can go down here and click on the text from the little tray at the bottom. There are some tools over here to the right that you can use as you work with this particular book, and there's just a couple that I'll highlight. But one of the neat things you can do is you can have this up on your smartboard in your classroom if you have one, or you can have students work along with you. So you could, if you're working with the letter S, and that's the letter that we're focusing on in this particular book, you could say, let's go ahead and circle all the books where you find the letter S. So we've got solids and we have size. Now let's go and do some other work with our text. Other things that we can do is that we can have students highlight. Let's highlight some of the words that we are learning today. Solids have what? What are the things that solids have in common? They have size, they have color, they have texture. So have students really interact with the text a little bit by doing some of those some of those edits and manipulations to the text. Other things you can do is let's take a moment and let's talk about size. Solids have size. Size can be things like larger, tall. Size can also be short.
Size.
And so you can go over here and you can just use these tools to help students understand size. Okay, tall, small, tall, short. A dog has size. Other things you can do is you can perhaps even for some of your students, if you want to help them in the text, you could put in some of the cognates that they may be unfamiliar with. So, you know, a Spanish cognate for color is colores. A German cognate for apple is Apfel. So you could go ahead and put those in for the students and then have them, or have the students do this, have them draw connections to the words that they're working with, or that help support them in their understanding of the text. So these are all great tools that you can use to help your students. Okay. All right. So other things that you can do with this are you can also take close reading notes. So let's talk about solids. Solids have, and let's do a quick little maybe informal assessment here, size, texture, color. You can capture the students' notes, and the students can capture their own notes, and you can see them in their own books. So there's a lot you can do with these books. Another thing that you can do is really zoom in on words, and I love this feature because I feel like it helps our students, you know, who may or may not be as focused on the text. So if we're going to talk about, you know, these concepts, maybe we just want to zoom in on this one part, and if we do that, let me just drop that there. We'll be able to pop that up and really have students focus in on the concept that we're teaching. So those are some ways that you can customize the text for the students. I'm going to go back to Benchmark Universe because I want to show you the other way that you can use this, and that is, well, there are a couple other ways. One, as you are teaching solids, you may want to create some additional resources to help students understand the broader concept of matter at their reading level. If you recall, all the books that are at that very early reading level have this Discover banner across the top. And so you'll see that, and so I have already set up a bookshelf, and this is my teacher instructional bookshelf, and I'm just going to put on it some books that are I can use to teach that concept of matter. So I've got 3 books now on my A-Day Rigor 1 group bookshelf. So I can click on that. There's my bookshelf. I've organized all my teaching materials for my day. And if I want to go in and I want to add to the lesson a little bit, I can click on this gear and I can do things like launch the book right from here, but I can also click on more information. And there's a teacher's guide and a comprehension card. The text-dependent questions for this book are on this comprehension card. Those are all right there, and a great resource for you if you want to build out that content mastery a little bit more. Another thing you can do is if you have a student that you want to assign these books to, you could click over here to assignments, and you could assign, let's see, I'm going to do a Rigor 1 Matter assignment. So I may want to take these 3 books and assign them to my students. You know, I've already maybe used them in my lesson a little bit, but now I'd like for the students to go and read these books independently. So so I'll go in here, and once I've created that materials assignment, I could write some instructions for my students, but I'm just going to go down here and select my students. I'm going to go select my class, and then I'm going to go over here to students. And maybe I'd like to have this assignment for Alvaro and Braden. All right, and then I'm going to click on done, and I'm just going to say I'd like for this to start today, and I want it to be up until Friday. Okay, and I saved it. Now, anytime Alvaro or Braden log in to their student logins and their student version of Benchmark Universe, they will see this assignment pop up with these 3 books. Now, the students can also search for books on their own, and so that's a great way if you wanted to have them do some additional work to kind of help them learn more about Benchmark Universe. So another thing you can do is if you find out that your students are in the content area classroom studying particular topics, let's say that your student is working with Matter, or let's start over and let's say that the student is working in the social studies classroom on communities. Maybe they're in sheltered a SIOP class for social studies. So we can pull up communities, and as I mentioned, we're going to go over here and click on ebook to get only the iPad compatible ebooks. Look at all the books that we have here on communities. Students can go in and select books about communities, and so they can just click on it, and the teachers can do that as well, but I don't want to do that. I want to just pull up the book. And so you'll be able to have students and can use them in that content area classroom when the content area text may be too complex for that student. So this is a great scaffold that can go with them from the ESL classroom into that content area class. All right, so those are kind of the primary ways that I think you could use Benchmark Universe for your students. If you would like to access the other more longer ebook webinar, Rachel McClellan has done a fantastic job with that one, and it really takes you through kind of slowly how to sort books, how to search for books, and how to create assignments, and also allows you to see, I believe, the student view for this. If you don't have your students registered for Benchmark Universe, or if you're not registered, please get in touch with your ESL department, and they can send you the form to fill out so that your students will have access to this wonderful resource. Thanks so much, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.